Chances are you know Giada De Laurentiis. That is, of course, if you love good Italian food and have even the tiniest inkling toward foodie culture. But it turns out the longtime Food Network star's journey to fame is just as impressive as her cooking. Here's why this chef is still turning heads.
First thing out of people's mouth is, how do you stay like that and eat all that pasta? I'm like, I don't eat all the pasta.
Born in Rome in 1970, Giada didn't exactly descend from food TV royalty, but she was born into a high-profile Italian family. Her grandfather was the famed Italian movie mogul Dino De Laurentiis, and her parents were actress Veronica De Laurentiis and actor-producer Alex Di Benedetti. By all accounts, Giada's early years in Italy were filled with lots of happy memories. But despite the fact that the De Laurentiis clan was entrenched in the film industry, Giada wasn't exactly curious about the family biz. She told Food and Wine, "I wasn't looking to get into TV. My family was in the movie business, so I was never interested in that world." Clearly, Giada was determined to march to the beat of her own drum. Giada is the first person to admit that she has lived a charmed life thanks to the incredible opportunities she's been given. But that doesn't mean she hasn't faced adversity. This was especially the case when she first moved to the United States at the age of 7 and enrolled in English-speaking school. She confessed to Redbook, "I came here from Italy in the 70s and didn't speak a word of English, so the kids at school tormented me. Truly, it was horrifying the names they called me, and the teachers never really did a thing to stop it." Fortunately, Giada had a secret weapon, her developing interest in cooking delicious food. She added, "It helped me build my ego and even start to get acceptance at school. I'd bring things to class that I'd cooked at home, and my classmates were like, 'Wow, this is amazing,' and that girl with the funny name cooked it."
How did you end up without an accent?
When you go to grade school, grammar school in the States, you end up assimilating.
Giada had already won over people's hearts with her culinary skills, even before she hit her teens. While Giada loved preparing and sharing food from the beginning, it was when she hit her tweens that she really formed a desire to make a career out of her passion. And much of that was because her grandfather, whose parents had a pasta factory back in Italy, brought that entrepreneurial spirit stateside. Giada told Time magazine, "After my grandfather became a movie producer, he opened up De Laurentiis food stores, one in Los Angeles and one in New York. I was 12 and I would go there after school." It was then that Giada truly began to fall in love with the food scene that existed outside of her home. She remembered, "It was a gourmet grocery store that also had a kitchen and served food. I loved being in the kitchen, watching the customers come in and talk about what they liked and didn't like." While Giada's grandfather closed the stores after only 2 years, those memories made a lasting impact on the budding chef. Giada became the first member of her family to attend college, and in 1996, she graduated with a degree in anthropology from UCLA. Not only that, but she was able to make her academic dream a reality completely on her own accord. She revealed in a chat with Eater, "I paid for my own college. I paid to go to UCLA, probably why I went to UCLA and not USC."
Oh yeah, it's coming along, folks. It's coming along.
However, at the time, Giada says that no one at home made a big deal of her accomplishment, despite how monumental it was. She said, "I come from a large Italian family. They only care about boys. Girls are supposed to get married and have children." The cultural norms of the time have changed significantly in the decades since. While Giada took her studies seriously in college, she wasn't completely against the social scene. That's how she wound up meeting and dating her eventual husband, clothing designer Todd Thompson. She shared with Redbook, "When we first met, I didn't have any money because I was in college, and he paid every time we went out to dinner, so I'd show my love for him by making a meal." At first, Thompson had a bit of a hard time fitting in with Giada's large Italian family and would get the side-eye from relatives for cutting his pasta with a fork and knife. Giada said, "Luckily, my husband is confident enough that he never took it personally. He'd laugh it off, and my family ended up adoring him." Once Giada graduated from UCLA, she knew in her heart that she wanted to go to culinary school. Despite her parents' misgivings about the idea, Giada packed her bags and flew off to Paris to attend the world-famous cooking school Le Cordon Bleu. She dished to total food service. "I'm going to be honest, it was brutal. The chefs threw pans and rolling pins, and I had burns all up and down my arms, and it was intense, laborious work." Giada also claimed that the experience shattered any notion she harbored that a career in the cooking industry would be a glamorous one. Fortunately, she survived culinary school despite the challenges that came with it, including being one of the few women in her class. She said, "Going to Cordon Bleu taught me how to prove myself by not just talking the talk, but walking the walk." After finishing culinary school, Giada returned to the U.S., spending several years working for different high-profile chefs in some fairly menial positions. Born out of the need to make money after being pressured by her family, De Laurentiis then went into catering, which was a more lucrative hustle at the time.
Giada, you're so funny. Come here, you.
Stop. I have pepper spray and I'm not afraid to use it.
Giada would go on to essentially crush it on the small screen, but it would be her family connection that first put her on the map. After Food Network exec Bob Tushman read an editorial Giada wrote about her family in Food and Wine, he asked her to put together an audition tape for the fledgling network, which she stalled on for quite some time. She told Eater, "It took a year to convince me to put myself on tape. But when she finally did submit it, she knocked it out of the park thanks to the help of her brother." She recalled, "I had music, I had an open, I had it all. It was all choreographed." Thanks to the tape, in 2003, Everyday Italian was born. Just as Giada's career as a celebrity chef was taking off with her first show airing regularly on Food Network, tragedy struck. In 2003, her younger brother Dino died of skin cancer at the age of 31. Naturally, Giada was devastated. She told Entertainment Tonight, "He was the person I turned to for everything. When something great happened in my life, when something bad happened, I would talk to him 2 to 3 times per day."
He just loved living, and he enjoyed every moment. I sometimes think to myself, I wish I had more of that in me, that free spirit that he had.
In light of her brother's untimely passing, Giada made it a priority to educate people about the importance of wearing sunscreen and getting regular skin scans. She explained in a public service announcement, "Those are the 2 most important things, because had my brother checked his skin and checked his body, he would have seen that something wasn't right." De Laurentiis regularly pays tribute to her brother on Instagram, and it's clear his memory remains dear to her heart. Despite the family's devastating loss, Giada's career was going full steam ahead. After Everyday Italian became a success, multiple spin-offs followed close behind. In 2007, Giada's Weekend Getaways debuted on the network, which filmed Giada at popular food destinations in the U.S. And after that, Giada at Home launched its wildly popular run in 2008, followed by Giada's Holiday Handbook, Giada Entertains, and Giada in Italy. You can also catch the popular chef on Food Network Star.
But you can't relax because the challenges keep on coming.
Giada also became an author multiple times over, starting with the cookbook Everyday Italian, which featured recipes from her show of the same name. That was followed by 8 additional cookbooks, which landed her on the New York Times bestseller list on multiple occasions. She also published several books for children that explore her favorite cities around the world, as well as feature recipes for kids. There was no question then that Giada had become a bona fide celebrity. Clearly, Giada had a lot on her plate as far as her career was concerned, so it wasn't too surprising that she and her husband had mutually decided against having children. But as she confessed to Redbook, then Jade came along, and I was very afraid, and so was Todd. What would happen to this life we had created, where we'd just take off for Santa Barbara for the weekend? The star and her husband welcomed their daughter when Giada was 37, and despite her initial concerns, Giada quickly realized that fitting little Jade into her life wouldn't be especially difficult. She said, "I've continued my life exactly as it was. Jade knows her mother works and travels, and she travels with me."
Rafi, Jade's making gnocchi.
Jade has certainly been a source of joy in Giada's life, as anyone can see from a quick look at Giada's Instagram feed. While gender discrimination may be rampant in the American workforce, fortunately for Giada, it hasn't stopped her from accomplishing her goals. She explained in an interview with Elle, "It's so funny because for the longest time, I never saw myself as a female chef versus a male chef. I just saw myself like everybody else, just trying to make a living and trying to do my job really well." That determination helped Giada to become the first female chef to open a restaurant on the Las Vegas Strip, which she did in 2014.
So sort of allowing people to feel like they're coming over to my house for dinner with all the special touches that you would find at my house.
She told Elle, "I've said this over and over to many women in my business. You kind of have to learn the ropes. It's like a game of chess or Monopoly. You have to learn how to play the game." Although Giada was married to her husband Todd for over a decade and had been in a relationship with him since she was 18, the couple ultimately got divorced. After a 6-month separation, Giada announced on Facebook, "Although our decision to separate comes with a great deal of sadness, our focus on the future and overwhelming desire for our family's happiness has given us the strength to move forward on separate yet always connected paths." After the news broke, Giada hit the brakes on public appearances. She later told E! News, "I tried to stay under the radar to protect my family and my daughter mostly. I think that the pain was so raw for so long that I just felt like I couldn't even talk about it." Eventually, Giada felt ready to start dating again. In 2015, she connected with TV producer Shane Farley, and the two have been inseparable ever since. Giada is truly a successful chef and businesswoman in every way. From her shows to her books to her ever-enduring appeal, she has proven that she's a force to be reckoned with. But it took a while for even her grandfather to give her the praise she deserved. She told Redbook, "Over the years, I think my grandfather became quite proud and maybe even a little shocked at my success. You have to understand that coming from a Neapolitan family, men head up the empire."
I was gonna, take my time as a lady, but I guess not.
Giada's grandfather initially questioned her capabilities, mainly because of the easygoing approach she took to cooking, the very same thing that made her so accessible to viewers. She told the outlet, "I remember him once saying to me, 'How can you tell people to open a jar of prepared pasta sauce?' Those are the kinds of debates we would have."
Cheers to fantastic tomato sauce.
With everything that Giada has accomplished in her life, you might think she's content to rest on her laurels. But that's simply not in Giada's ambitious nature. She told Total Food Source, "I have a distinctive drive to keep accomplishing more, and I always hear my grandfather's voice in the back of my head telling me to keep going." Looking forward, you can expect Giada to champion wellness as she makes the world a better place, one plate at a time. She said, "I believe the very first thing you can do for yourself is eat healthy and balanced, and everything else will fall into place. One of my goals in life is to make sure I'm doing the best I can to take part in creating healthier lives for future generations." Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more list videos about your favorite stars are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.